Alright, what's up, amigos? YouTube Fight World. It's K right here. I'm back with another final video for today. I'm going to make my claim for why Canelo Alvarez is not pound for pound number one in his division, nor in the world for boxing. I am going to be flaming the crap out of Canelo in this video. Alright, let's get right to it. Canelo Alvarez is not a good boxer. He does not have boxing ability. All he does is like to be aggressive, and he likes to use a lot of bad intentions in the ring, which, I mean, that's what a good number of boxers do. They throw with bad intentions. But Canelo Alvarez, he's that type of guy to be a little bit dirty in the ring. See, now with Canelo is that he claims to say that he's pound for pound number one, and I highly disagree with that because, one, you cheated twice for steroids, and you got caught and Mauricio Suleiman defended your ass like a little bitch. But on top of that, Canelo does not fight his contemporaries. Here's why. Ever since 2 years ago of 2018, Jamal Charlo was, Canelo's mandatory for 160 pounds. And what Canelo decided to do is that Canelo decided to vacate his belt and request the WBC French Fries belt, or aka the franchise belt, to avoid Jamal Charlo to go up and fight at 168. See, now, before anybody says that Canelo Alvarez was trying to move up in weight, Canelo Alvarez was never planning on going to 168 at all. He said from his own mouth, I want to unify all the belts at 160. Okay, fine. But at that time, did Canelo ever decide to fight Jermell Charlo and all the other champions, or the up-and-coming champions at 154, if he wanted to unify all the belts? And I think that answer was going to be no, because he did the same thing to Jermell Charlo, where he had to vacate his belt when he had a belt at 154, and he had, he wanted to get away from Jermell as much as he did from Jamal, to not fight either of them in order to make it easier for him to get all the belts without having to try against opponents that meet his style, where he has to, make it easier for himself to have tailor-made fighters fight in front of him. So at 160, he did the same exact thing to Jermell's brother, aka Jamal Charlo, and Charlo was Canelo's mandatory for 2 years. And if Canelo was going to keep his word, he should have fought Demetrius Andrade for the WBO belt, and probably had fought, I don't know who else was there at 160, but fight either the real WBA champion and the IBF champion at 160 as well. But either way, it's like, there's really nothing to debate here. Jamal Charlo was wanting Canelo for quite the longest. And if anything, Jamal was never sent a contract, according to him, as of Sunday of this past weekend, where Canelo and his team never sent a contract at all. And people want to say that Canelo did send a contract and Jamal turned it down. That's not true, because if Jamal had a contract, he would have showed it to the public, and he would have said, okay, I'm going to sign this damn contract and I'm going to go fight him. But he ain't going to sign no damn contract unless the money is right. And you know what Billy Joel Saunders did to Demetrius Andrade when he agreed to fight with Andrade, and then when Billy was about to weigh in and get that over with, he then got caught with steroids, which nobody don't want to talk about. But sadly, yeah, Billy Joe Saunders, he got his ass caught with steroids, and Andrade had, every right to be angry. And Billy Joel, he's he's just a straight up cheater, man. I don't know what to really say, but Andrade, he's just as hungry as Jamal Charlo is. And before anyone says that Charlo, he could have fought Daniel Jacobs and blah, 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 Danny Jacobs was capping with Jamal Charlo. I don't care what anyone has to say. He was straight ducking Jermall Charlo. Jermall Charlo said to the public, "I will fight anyone, anytime, anywhere." And when Danny Jacobs came into the mix, what did Jermall say? Let's skip our fights with who we have to fight, and let's get this fight started. This is after Canelo requested the WBC French Fries belt to vacate his belt for Jermall Charlo to fight Hugo Centeno Jr. to get the WBC, middleweight championship of the world. And Jermall easily knocked out Hugo, which, I'm not trying to disrespect Hugo because he's my boy as well. But, Jermall did his thing, and he's now been champion for quite some time. But at that same moment, him and Danny Jacobs should have fought for the title. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can easily skip their fights and say, hey, like we both want to fight, each other, and then they would have gotten their shot to, get that down, and then boom. If anything, that that the tables would have been turned. It would have probably been Hugo Centeno versus Sergey Derevyanchenko, which Derevyanchenko is a very good fighter. Derevyanchenko should have won his fight against Danny Jacobs and Gennady Golovkin, but something just tells me Derevyanchenko he does not get the respect that he deserves, and it's quite disrespectful that Derevyanchenko does not have the credibility that he should deserve, because he is a real champion. At heart, he should have been the IBF against Gennady Golovkin, and I think that should be up for dispute, and Gennady Golovkin should admit defeat when defeat is put on its way. But either way, I do believe Jermall Charlo wanted everybody at 160, and that's why he fought. Oh man, who else is there at 160? I know that. Well, Jaime Munguia, he's now the champion for the WBO, and I think the IBF and the WBA. Who is there? I don't know. Let me just take a look at that. I'm almost positive that IBF champion, 160 pounds. Yeah, man, I really keep forgetting these people. Gennady is the IBF champion, and the WBA middleweight champion has to be, I want to say Canelo, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yo, my boy David Morrell is fighting. Also, he's fighting this weekend. Support my boy David Morrell. That's gonna be a damn good fight. World champions. All right. At middleweight, let's see. Yeah, so we got Canelo Alvarez at 160 holding the WBA belt. So this motherfucker is still active at middleweight for Jermall Charlo to get that belt. And I guarantee you, Canelo, if he vacates his WBA belt, you already know who's going to be talking on that. It's going to be Dante's Boxing Nation. It's going to be Aki TV and Blue Blood, everybody. So, if Jermall Charlo wants to go this route, he can easily take out Canelo. He could probably force that WBA title fight. Probably not, but I would hope that happens. And for the IBF, go after Triple G. Definitely go after Triple G. I really want Charlo to go after Triple G and Ryota Murata and all these other cats. Or no, they're not cats. All these other lame ass fighters. To take him down. And if he could become undisputed at middleweight, that would be awesome. But I think what Jermall wants to do, he just wants to get a fight in with Canelo, because he's already good enough. So it's why waste your time with Triple G or Ryota Murata, or no, Canelo Alvarez at 160, knowing he's at 168 now. But yeah, it's just absolutely funny and absolutely disrespectful. But yeah, Jermel has plenty of options, and I truly believe Canelo Alvarez is not going to become pound for pound number one, as many of you Canelo fanboys like to protect him, to say that he is pound for pound number one, when clearly he is not. Canelo got his ass exposed and beat to death by Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was clearly the smaller man against a bigger Canelo Alvarez, and Canelo got his ass whooped. Canelo got his ass whooped by Floyd Mayweather, and Floyd Mayweather made sure Canelo was like a little child going back to his corner after yelling at his father for not giving him toys, for Christmas. So I think what Canelo doesn't understand is that his style does not meet with Americans. Yeah, with American boxing styles. He's never been in the ring with an American that has a slick frame. Which, I mean, he's been at it with Austin Trout and Arislandi Lara, which you respect. Yeah, which Canelo respectably lost those fights. And Canelo knows that, look, if I ever fight these guys again, I'm going to get my ass whooped. And he knows it because Charlo, he got power, but he got slick defensive ability where Charlo would really make you think. And Canelo, he don't like to think because Mexicans, they're not that smart when it comes to utilizing their defense as their offense. Because what Americans like to do, at least a good amount of them, not every single American, there's a lot of trash American boxers, but when you don't utilize your defense as your offense, because the name of the game is to hit and not get hit. If you don't utilize that, you're gonna get knocked out. That is how it goes down in the States. If you don't utilize your defense as your offense, you're gonna get knocked out. That is how boxing is. But what Mexicans do, they don't care about that. They come in as two raging bulls. They don't come in as matadors. I say it that way because Mexicans don't have a brain when it comes to actually boxing smart. A lot of them just like to fight super duper aggressive, and they don't utilize their defense and their foot movement, their reflexes, their lateral quickness to make the opponent feel, imbalanced in the fight. And like, don't you know how in Dragon Ball Z, when two fighters are gonna go at it, like, I mean, if you take a look at the game, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, you can understand that those characters in Dragon Ball Z, they're using lateral movement. They're trying to find that opening to hit you, to make you uncomfortable, to make you feel that you're not in the fight. And when Goku uses his combinations, he uses his combinations to find those pressure points to make you uncomfortable, to make you understand that you can't figure me out, but I can figure you out. And that's really how it is in boxing. Boxing is literally the game of chess, but is it's a game of chess in the ring of Mortal Kombat. And that's really how I see it, because boxing is like Mortal Kombat. The only fact is that you don't do fatalities of people in the ring unless they actually die from an actual medical injury. But I don't think that should ever be the case. And I always treat boxing like any other fair sport in the world. When you fight, you have to come in with a good mindset, and you have to fight, intelligent. You just can't be banging with people and just say, "Oh yeah, you know what? I'm just 100% good today. I can go back into the ring, 2 months later." No, that should never happen that never happens in boxing. And usually most fighters today fight at least 4 times a year, versus like Sugar Ray Robinson fighting almost every other week, which is giving him at least a week's worth of rest. And he's not even fully recovered. And I don't blame him, because Sugar Ray, he was living in a really semi bad economy back then, but still fighting almost every other week just to be literally the best well-known boxer in the world. That is just crazy. Like you're gonna damn near kill yourself. But I guess it don't matter when you got good boxing ability. But that's just how it be. These guys just be fighting literally almost every other day, and it's just crazy. And it's funny with Mexican fighters because Mexican fighters, from what I hear, some of them be taking in fights completely on short notice, and they be fighting at like at the bar or wherever, and it's not really even like a professional organized fight because Mexico's sanctioning bodies are not as well established in the states where in Mexico you can fight at 15 years old, and you could literally have like a Canelo like fighter fighting some guy in his early 30s. And I mean it's just crazy because it's like, what if that 30-year-old man beats the living crap out of that 15-year-old kid? It's just like taking some really huge risks there. And like I understand that American fighters are now going down to Mexico to fight, but definitely don't stay there for like stay there as long as you need to, so that way once you hit let the legalized age to come back to the States and then take advantage of it. But back to the Canelo thing. Charlo has been wanting Canelo for quite the longest, on top of Demetrius Andrade, and on top of that, David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. So if Canelo wants to become pound for pound number one, he needs to fight Charlo. He needs to fight Andrade. He needs to fight all these guys that have been calling him out for a very, very long time. And Canelo haters can shut up, and Canelo can get killed in the ring by Charlo, because that's really what's going to happen. Canelo already admitted defeat. So, reason why I'm saying this is because Canelo, he ain't got no boxing skills. His style meets with European like fighters. European fighters are very slow on their feet. They don't have too much defense, and they just allow the opponent to just hit them and not use any defensive ability to get fighters off guard to make them more less susceptible to punishment. And that's why I think Canelo, when you take a look at his past couple fights, he's been fighting guys that are flat-footed and not able to actually move around a lot. And I mean that's really what Canelo does. He's he's just a power puncher. He doesn't have boxing ability. All these reflexes that people say that Canelo got, Charlo can easily over counter that by making big pressure shots to the body and making Canelo uncomfortable. Because Charlo, he can easily knock out Canelo. The issue is just that Canelo don't want to fight him. And Canelo knows what Charlo is doing. He sees what Charlo does in the ring. He understands that stylistically, Canelo, he cannot fuck with Charlo's style. If Canelo tries to throw that uppercut, you already know what Charlo's gonna do. He's gonna throw that flash hook, leading to the body shots, and literally just make Charlo look good by Charlo utilizing his defense as his offense. And Charlo would just absolutely outbox Canelo. And I think what Charlo knows is that Canelo, he can't fuck with Charlo. He can't fuck with him on the inside. And Charlo already got that reach and height advantage over him. So, Canelo fans, please answer this. How do you expect Canelo to be the best in the world when he cannot meet his style against other fighters that are good, as his contemporaries? And most Canelo fans are just going to say, oh, because Canelo is still great and he has way more legacy, to prove in the ring with his accomplishments than those fighters, so that means he shouldn't fight them because he has more accomplishments than them. That doesn't make any fucking sense. It's either you make the damn fight or don't call yourself pound for pound number one. Because having pound for pound status means that you beat all the better fighters that were in your divisions or division that you currently fight in. Like, if I beat Mike Tyson in the heavyweight division during his prime, I will be pound for pound number one. And pound for pound status is all, opinionated. So it has all of its biases. But if we're gonna go by the numbers and we're gonna go by the truth, pound for pound should be determined by a fighter's performance of their legacy. That is how I see it with pound for pound. Pound for pound is not just based off of people's opinion of who's going to be pound for pound in the world, blah, blah, blah. No. That shit needs to go. The Ring magazine needs to go with that BS. If you're going to have pound for pound, give fighters the opportunity to have their names on there after they prove themselves in the ring to show why they're pound for pound number one or number two or basically whatever. Because that's just how I see it. You know, it's the same thing with the NBA. There are pound for pound rankings for the NBA. Like Allen Iverson is at least top 5 or top 25 for the pound for pound rankings. That's just because he's just that good of a player, and he's averaged well over 30 plus points within his own season of getting that much scoring in the NBA. And I think he was almost close to winning a MVP at one point. But Allen Iverson, he's literally like, you know, like most valuable player in the NBA. And although he's never won titles, but he's proven himself to be the best in the world when it comes to point guards or shooting guards. But back to boxing, Canelo Alvarez does not have that status because he's never fought his contemporaries to keep that status. So until Canelo has Mexican balls to fight Charlo, Andrade, Caleb Plant, David Benavidez that's been calling him out till this day, and many other fighters that probably want to knock his head off, that needs to happen. On top of that, David Morrell is also fighting. Actually, no. Oh, that actually might be the biggest issue here. Because if we take a look at it, David Morrell is fighting for, no, he's actually fighting for the super middleweight belt. Yes, I apologize. Well, actually, no, he would actually be the regular champion for super middleweight, so he can become Canelo's mandatory. Yes, that would actually be that would be such a good fight. Yeah, if we actually take a look at it, in their actual website, if we can get to it, yes, he is fighting for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship of the world. Let's go. So, you know, if he gets past this guy, Mike Gavransky, this should be a pretty easy fight. This guy doesn't have that much reach to deal with David, but David is that type of animal to go out and actually give a damn good fight. But yeah, this is going to be the ticket for David Morrell to get this belt, which he will be a world champion. You know, if he gets his belt, he's a world champion. And then once he takes out Canelo for the super belt to claim superstardom status, or whoever holds the WBA, which it is, Canelo, that should be the ultimate ticket for David Morrell to be in that mix, take out Canelo, fight Charlo, and fight everyone else. That is going to be a damn good apple card, wild card upset. That is going to be crazy. So if David Morrell gets past Mike Gavransky, I find it hard to believe that he probably, wouldn't be able to beat David. But I hope David beats, the living crap out of this guy. Yeah, we got ourselves like a new dog into the division, and I think Jamal he'll probably go after David. Definitely, most likely, if he were to move up at 168 for his next bout. But yeah, that'll be very interesting because you already know what's gonna happen. There's a lot of good things to see out of this whole division, and I really hope Canelo has the Mexican cojones to fight his contemporaries, because we already know why Canelo don't want to fight these guys. He don't want to fight them because stylistically it does not match with his pedigree for what he usually does to fighters, where fighters just sit in front of him and then he uses anything but everything to, put fighters at a stall position and just start hitting fighters with all these crazy power punches. And he has very little boxing ability to try to make himself look like he's that good of a fighter. And that's because all of his opponents, or most of his opponents, are flat-footed and don't have that much good defense to deal with, Canelo. Because when Canelo was supposed to fight Charlo, he decided to fight, I think, James Kirkland, as it was supposed to be Jamal Charlo for the title. Actually, no, though. He was supposed to fight Jermell Charlo. Yeah, Jermell Charlo. Yeah, I'm almost positive. Yeah, when he came up to 154, or when he fought at 154, he was supposed to fight Jermell Charlo, I believe, for a title shot. Because if we take a look at it, I will get the receipt. Saul Alvarez. Let's take a look at it. I always like to make sure of that. I'm sure he fought Kirkland for a belt. I'm almost positive that he did. Matthew Hatton. Yeah, that was also another cherry pick as well. You should have fought, Jermell Charlo or somebody else of that caliber. Where is it? Where is it? I'm trying to find it. Sorry, guys. Yeah, where's James Kirkland? Are you kidding me? Where is it? Yeah. So when Canelo came to 154, he was supposed to fight Jermell Charlo to go after, Miguel Cotto for the belt. Well, that wasn't even like the real belt. It was actually Amir Khan for the belt. But either way, he was supposed to fight Jermell Charlo at the time instead of Kirkland, because Kirkland came off of a bad performance, if I'm not mistaken, of fighting. Actually, no, yeah, he beat Glenn Tapia. Yeah, sorry. But after he beat Glenn Tapia for the belt, or no, not the belt. After he beat Glenn Tapia, Canelo, took James Kirkland instead of fighting, I want to say, Jermell Charlo at that time, to go for, title contention to fight, I believe, Cotto, if I'm not mistaken, because Jermell at that time, he was fighting. Wait, what month was that? Yeah, let's see, what month was that? I apologize. That was on 2015, May 9th. So, Jermell Charlo. 2015, May 9th. Let's see. I'm almost positive that back in 2015, he was fighting. Let's see. Yeah. Out of 2015, he was fighting Joaquim Alcine, which he knocked him out. But at that point, he should have been fought. Wait, what? What's this? Oh wait, actually no. Vanes Maritasian. Yeah, he got the decision victory over him. But either way, it's like his very first welterweight appearance into getting his first title shot was against Charles Hatley, which he KO'd him. And then after that, he fought Lubin, and then Trout, and then lost to Harrison, and then got a huge victory over Jorge Cota, which Cota, he wasn't that good anyway, but still. Took out Tony Harrison, got the WBC, took the IBF away from Jason Rosario, so either way, he has pretty much all the belts. Well, people say he's undisputed, but some say he would still need to get the WBO to gain undisputed status. But I'd say, like, once you have those three major belts, you pretty much are already undisputed at that point. But either way, Canelo was not wanting to fight Jermell Charlo at 154, and he decided to fight James Kirkland anyway, because Jermell Charlo was pretty much on his way to get the title shot if he were to fight Canelo, beat him, beat the living crap out of, well, sadly, if he was to beat Cotto in devastating fashion, that would be a huge win for Jamel, but that would be a big loss for Puerto Ricans. I'm just keeping that real to all my Puerto Rican, lovers of those fighters. But I think Jamel, he knows that he would have gotten his title shot a lot sooner than later if he were to beat Canelo, and that would have boosted up his stock way faster, and that would have made a lot of bigger noise into that division. Leading up to Canelo moving up to middleweight, doing the same exact thing, fighting nobodies, and then when Jamal was his mandatory after Canelo won his middleweight championship, um, leading up to him having to face him as a mandatory, he requested the WBC franchise belt to move up to 168 and avoid Charlo. So he's gonna probably try to do the same thing, but I don't think it's gonna happen this time because Canelo, he got two options. One, he could go back down to 160, beat the shit out, beat Charlo if he thinks he's pound for pound number one, and then if he were to beat him, he could probably unify all the damn belts at 160 and 168. Then boom, I'll give him respect. But I think it seems that Canelo's already admitting defeat when Charlo has been saying this whole damn time that Canelo never sent me a damn contract, and then on top of that, Canelo never made any notice of him. That just shows that Canelo is afraid of Charlo, and he's afraid of Andrew. Canelo is he doesn't even want to fight his own people, David Benavidez. So what does that tell you out of Canelo? Canelo is the biggest pussy in boxing. He does not want to fight contemporaries. He just wants to fight nobodies. But that's pretty much what I gotta say. I think Jamal Charlo is gonna get the Canelo fight anyway, because Canelo, he's not gonna go up to 175. If he goes up to 175, do you want to do you want to know who's going to be up there waiting for him when he goes up to 175? It's going to be guys like Joe Smith Jr., Dimitri Bivol, Joshua Buatsi, and all those other cats, all those other titans that will be waiting to beat the living crap out of Canelo. And Artur Beterbiev would smack the living crap out of Canelo. Although he is not the best fast movement type of fighter in the world, I think him and Canelo would not stand a chance against Artur, because Artur, he's an inside fighter. And Canelo, he knows that if he tries to bang with him in the inside, Artur is going to hit Canelo at a spot where he's not going to feel comfortable, and boom, Canelo gets knocked the hell out. And that is why Canelo knows that he did not want to stay at 175 any much longer, because, what seems to be unnatural is that Canelo was able to drop all the weight to go down to 168, but somehow you can't go back down to 160 knowing that you have a belt you have a belt at 160. So either way, Canelo's making a huge fool out of himself, and he doesn't have too much to really prove other than, look, you have to take these fights or else you're not going to be looked down upon for your legacy. And I wouldn't even say he's a Hall of Famer because, you cheated. So once you cheat, you're not even in Hall of Fame status, if I'm correct. But yeah, I would really hope Canelo can grow some Mexican balls and just fight these fights, bro. I've already been waiting for these fights for at least 5 years when I was watching Charlo coming out of high school, and I just want to see Charlo shine. I want to see Charlo beat the living crap out of you, so that way the middleweight and the super middleweight division can be riddance away from Canelo virus. That's really what I call it. Because Canelo, he is literally the virus that keeps on growing until he gets wiped out. Because that's really what's going to happen to Canelo. He's going to get wiped out one day by a contemporary that he does not know about. And I would hope that Canelo gets his ass out of boxing, because Canelo is not a good fighter, and if he's going to continue taking cherry picks, then you already know what Canelo is going to do. He is an absolute retard, and he is never to be respected in the ring. So please, Canelo and stupid ass Eddie Reynoso, take the fights. Fight Errol Spence. Fight Jamal Charlo. Fight David Benavidez. That's been calling you out, and he actually promoted it on his own Instagram. And fight Caleb Plant. Fight all these fighters where you say that you're pound for pound number one, and we can see who actually has that status. But until then, please shut up, Canelo. And to all of his fans, you guys have the lowest IQ of the low, and you are the most dishonest piece of crap fans that the world has ever seen. And you are not true fans of the sport. You are just fans of the man, aka man fans. So, to hell with Canelo Alvarez. Let's get these fights going. The Ring of Fire starts now. See y'all later, and screw Canelo Alvarez. Bye.